welcome to Kushti TV, the straight talking YouTube channel. What we've got for you today is London crime. Yes, we're going to go right back into the 70s, northwest of London. Many of the gang involved in West London, some of whom I have met. Yes, okay, now let's move on. What was it, when was it? 70s, 1972, the Wembley bank robbery, massive, one of the biggest of its time. Become known as the Wembley gang. They actually pulled off the biggest bank robbery in Great Britain of its time, just before in Ilford, just east of London, yeah. And they moved round the North Circular, right by the famous stadium, Wembley, of course, football stadium, and it became dubbed the Wembley gang, yeah. They pulled off that robbery, mass robbery, £238,000 in them days, fortunes, 1972. And I'm going to bring in the characters, what had happened, but I think the biggest tragedy of all, I'm going to also focus on. Yeah, these guys are victims because Bertie Smalls became the biggest grass ever in London. So famous that even on the terraces today, they, if somebody says something or does something, they start chanting Bertie Smalls. If somebody snitches even the minutest bit, so don't be a Bertie. Yes, folklore, yeah. Okay, it was anything but a hero to the men sitting in the dock. But the old Bill, they had him more of an hero. But it really was a game of cat and mouse in this story, because what was happening, people were swapping roles. Yeah, you had gangsters becoming policemen, and you had policemen becoming gangsters, taking backhanders, and they were swapping roles. And that was the puzzling side of this. But Derek Creighton, better known as Bertie Smalls, 1972, they all made their way to Torremolinos. There's a place I know in Spain, lovely part near Malaga. They made their way there, they had some contacts there, that was it, that was a bit how they lived really. These boys are all tough type of street guys, not frightened to have a fight, and willing to have a go and put their livelihoods on the line. And that was the sort of life they led. It was sort of scrap dealers and second-hand car dealers and greengrocers, that type of thing. Everybody come from an educated background. They come from nothing like that, nothing privileged as such. But you've got to realise there was a lot involved here. Was the juices that flowed and the beer and champagne that flowed. It was lots of money and easy if you got away with it. They were the type of characters, you know what I mean? For the ones who weren't brave enough to maybe go out and have a fight, they still are brave enough to go and catch the buzz, or enough brains, or a good getaway driver. So it was made up of more than just brawn. There was some brains into this outfit, yeah. So they were known as the Ruthless Wembley Gang. And so Torremolinos, the police started focusing on them. They didn't have too much to go. They had a couple of underlying small sort of paid off grasses, informers, but nothing to tie them too much. So they were quite clever. They would, have 3 or 4 different stolen cars for the 6 or 8 piece gang, and in the big robberies, even 10-piece gangs. So anyway, that's what they would do. They would go from A to B to D to C to A, B, C, D, until it ended, until they made their way out. But they were sort of loosely on their trail, and they discovered they spend a lot of time in the Costa del Sol, Torremolinos, the old Bill, and they sort of were slightly on the case. But Bertie Smalls made a mistake, plotting a job in Wood Green, just north of the city, and he was seen driving up in a Jag car, and somebody, an off-duty policeman, clocked the number, back to him, and they started having him as a loose suspect. But when he got in, for the first time ever, he said, if you exclude me from any crimes at all, I'll give you every bank robber in London. And that was the deal made. And so the supergrass, Bertie Smalls, was given that. First time ever, I think maybe the only time ever. They normally get from 25 years to 5 years. He actually got 0, nothing, no identity, was offered to go abroad. And he brought some big, heavy names down, and in total he brought 21 people down and gave them 308 years, yeah. And the Wembley gang, and just some big names that went down. And there was a big hit on his head, and so much that he's going to be done by the underworld. But the people that that he knocked around with, will be doing lots of long porridge, come out, done their money. And bear in mind, if you're one of 21 people living in a in London, You know, when you have 7-8 million people living there, right? 1 of 21. When you've got to go and find a bank robber's 7 million, it's a bit more difficult. When you've got to hear Bertie Smalls get shot in the head, you're 1 of 21 suspects. You've got to bear that in mind. You're very shortlisted that one of you lot have done this. They're very hard to pull off. But he did meet Bobby King, one of the fellas he sent down in Crouch End, and Bobby decided not to fill him in. And that's about the strength of that one. He said he was reforming, Bobby's words. Or did he not fancy the fight? I don't know. Maybe Bobby could have wiped the floor with him. I don't know. But he didn't. And he met a bit of trouble in South London. He got a good kick in the car park by one of the other many that he sent down. And that was Bertie. But he lived so brazenly, you know, that's all that happened. He lived so brazen that he continued even going back to his old pubs in North London and East London. And he died at the age of 73. And just take a look now at some of the people that he sent down, and between these boys there was some people that went just, you know, accepted their mistakes, moved on, and some stayed on as, you know, as players and, you know, forever criminals and crooks. But I can't help thinking part of the Wembley game, the biggest, saddest piece of all of this, no doubt about it, was the Wembley gang had taken their stuff across London on the southwest edge of London in a place called Ewell Village, right near Epsom, yeah, just southwest of London, and a Security Corps van was attacked, and some staff were on site in a Unigate dairy. It was, I think, the 17th of February 1973, and this is the saddest case of all. Bear in mind, these guys have been grassed up. They've lost their liberty. 7, 8, 10 years they've had to do in prison, and their best years. But they knew what they were doing. They knew if it failed, they didn't expect their mate to put them in it, but they knew if it failed what the consequences was. And the old cliche, if you can't do the time, don't go and do the crime. These guys knew that it was going to go wrong. They'd be sitting 12s, 14s, 15s, 20s. So they knew what they were doing wrong. But the biggest victim of all in the Wembley gang, no doubt in my mind, Unigate Dairy, 1973, 17th of February, on a Saturday, a Security Corps van with the wages, and come to take the money away from end of week, to secure it in the bank, and it was held up, and a young milkman, 26-year-old Frank Kidwell, yeah. Now, 26-year-old Frank Kidwell was just a 26-year-old Frank Kidwell was just a milkman who had won the best milkman of the year, 26-year-old. So he's not doing bad. You can't do a bad job as a milkman. You can't be locked over. They were claiming insurance salesman, can you? You know, you sell your milk at 8 pence a bottle, or whatever it was in them days, yeah. And that was it. And he clearly, to be the best salesman, he clearly worked very hard, and he got on very well with the people. About to be married, 26-year-old, the robbery gunman come in, and and shot in the back, aged 26, and that was gone undetected until Smalls had pressed the button, and then people were talking, and and then Philip Morris, Londoner, moved up to Cornwall, out of Cornwall. He admitted killing him. He said the gun accidentally went off. It's very, very sad. If that's the case, it's terribly sad for the victim, but ain't even pleasant for the bloke who went to get some money. If the gun did just go off, his words, not mine, if that was the case. He didn't mean to kill the bloke. But that bloke was an hard worker, and you compare him to the other fellas, going out blagging, mask on, you know, all in all, he was doing no wrong at all. The son of a rag and bone man, had values installed in him, to hard work, no doubt. Just lay dead, no wedding, lay ahead of him, family. That's the biggest, saddest case for me on this, at the Wembley gang. And Bertie Smalls, yeah, he lived on to 73. Bertie Smalls died of natural causes, died in Croydon. Many other fates at the others, some passed on, some still going and going well. Anyway, piece of London crime history, hope you enjoy.